Well, good morning everyone, Tony here. So today I want to talk about a few things that you should probably know before you become full-time RVers. Now I know in today's age there's a lot more people going full-time. There's a lot more people out here making YouTube videos about being full-time RV. And I think a lot of videos nowadays are kind of guilty of portraying that RV life is always the best thing under the sun, the best thing that you could ever experience in your entire life. On most cases, yes. Full-time RVing can be one of the best things you could ever be fortunate enough to accomplish in your life and go do. Especially if you like to travel and you like to camp. Keyword, camp. If you do not like bugs, if you do not like the outdoors, full-time RV life is not your friend. If you are a germaphobe, camping and RV life is not your friend. But like I said, a lot of videos out here nowadays, they give this false portrayal that it's the best thing ever, when in reality, it's not always the best thing that can ever happen to you. Sometimes, and for certain people, it could be the absolute worst nightmare somebody could ever experience, and why in the hell did I ever think about doing this? Now, unfortunately, it's just the way we're all created. Some people have more of a strong will to adapt, overcome, and power through the problems. And a lot of people, they can't do that. They cannot, deal with a stressful situation like that and continue to live that way. It's got to be in order. And full-time RV life, you can put yourself on a routine and get it down to where it's almost routine. But at the end of the day, it's never a routine day when you're moving one of these things. It's never a routine thing when you're going to a new place you've never been and setting up your home. It's not a thing that you do like when you live in your stick and bricks. You went to work, you come home, and that cycle, it's a daily occurrence. It's what's familiar to you. So if you're not the type of person who can go someplace and be not familiar with an area, not familiar with the surroundings, the noises, the wildlife, then RVing is not your friend. And like I said, a lot of people who do these videos, and I'm sure some of our videos have been guilty of that a little bit, of showing that RV life is the greatest thing and there's never ever a cloudy day or never a problematic day. Well, unfortunately, it's not the case. There is problematic days. You have breakdowns. Anything mechanical will break down, and it could either cost you $5 or cost you $5,000 or more. You could be someplace and have a tree fall in your RV. Well, now that's your home. You do not have no place to go. It's either go to a hotel, or hopefully the insurance company will pay you out so you can go replace your RV. And you got to make sure you have the right coverages. You got to make sure you have all that stuff and your amendments for your insurance to make sure they're going to cover that, especially when you're full-time RV. When you're full-time RV, you don't want regular insurance on your RV because they're not going to cover anything. They're not going to cover any of your materials inside. Your personal items. They're not going to, you got a family heirloom in there that you want to take with you on the road. They're not going to cover that. They're just going to say, you shouldn't be living in it full time. And that's the loopholes of a lot of insurance companies. So you got to make sure you have all these things here in order as well. Now, back to the whole breakdowns. You can be riding up the road. Everything's peachy for the day. Wham, you run into your first problem. Now, if you don't have the sheer strong will to adapt and overcome that issue here, this is not for you. This is not the lifestyle that you should probably think about leading. And a lot of things a lot of people don't talk about, like if you're traveling, you don't always find a place to camp. You got to think well out in advance. If there's going to be a holiday in between here to here where I'm going here, you need to start making plans a couple months in advance to try to make sure you have a place to actually park your RV, because guess what? The weekend warriors are going to be out. They got all the campgrounds in that local area. They're booked. Now, for those of you who are afraid to boondock, and boondock is camping without electric, and just dry camping, if you can't do that, then RV life is not for you. Of course you can fire up a generator, but a lot of people frown on that when you fire up this big, high wattage, uncaged, uninverted generator, construction generator. If you're out someplace in nature, everybody don't want to hear that run, and you're going to really make some neighbors mad if there happen to be other people who are enjoying nature with you. Because sometimes you'll end up in boondocking spots like that because there's no campgrounds. Should you go to Walmart and run a generator? Probably be okay, but you got to really think about it. I mean, if there's houses close to that, you probably don't want to run your generator because somebody's going to get angry. They're going to call the cops. You're going to get the nice knock on your door at 2 a.m. because you want a little bit of air conditioning. And that's the other thing. If you're going to be out full-time RV, you may not have air conditioning because you can't have electric, and it could be 100 degrees outside. So you'll either have to go to a hotel and pay more money for a hotel because you have no other place that you can sleep because it's uncomfortable. Now, we experienced this here a few weeks back. We were at a campground. They lost power, and it was one of the muggiest and hottest days in the area here. I think they said the heat index was right around the triple digits. So it was very, 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 very nasty and brutal to sleep without some sort of electric to run a fan or generator. And even if you got a battery operated fan, those batteries only last so long, and then it starts getting muggy inside your RV. Now, back to this whole thing about whether RV life is really for you. One of the other things to consider is water, places to dump your tanks. That's not always readily available to you. You can't just always just go get water anywhere. Or if you do get lucky and find water, how clean is that water? You can put filters, everything else bringing it in, but do you want to drink that water? Me personally, I'm not going to drink it even if it's filtered 2 or 3 times on the way through, plus the nice little water filtration system Miss Jill has inside here. I'm not drinking that water out there, so you'll have to always keep bottled water. But then you also have to run the risk of you can't keep your bottled water in a place where direct sunlight's going to hit it, because it can make it poison because it's in a plastic bottle. So you have to try to keep that into a cool climate. So you don't want to have an abundance of water, but you don't want to have not enough water for days like that. See, these are the things that a lot of people are not showing you and telling you, that sometimes it can be about what you're going to do to survive being a full-time RVer. What you can deal with for a few days, because you might not have the luxury of having full hookups. The other thing is your medical coverage going to cover you in a different state? You'll have to look into these kind of things. You have to make sure that, like if you're, say, a resident of Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, say you're in California or up in Washington State, if something happens, you have to go to the hospital, is your medical insurance going to cover you in these states? And believe it or not, unfortunately, a lot of those healthcare coverages do not cover you in these other states. So you'll want to look into that before you become a full-time RVer. Also, you'll want to keep in mind that you'll have to keep a physical address in a state that you wish to reside in, like ours is Ohio. We have to keep our residence here. So we have to have an address here, a physical address, to keep our vehicles tagged, our driver's license is valid, and our insurance for our RV and tow rigs, and our spare pickup. So we have to have these. Now, can you do this in other states like North Dakota, South Dakota, Florida? Yes, you can do it anywhere you want. But you'll have to keep in mind, you'll have to have these kind of things, because a P.O. box is not valid to renew a driver's license or obtain any kind of legal document like that. So you'll have to keep these kind of things in mind. Now, one of the other few things that you'll have to keep in mind when towing a big rig, it's not your Honda. It's not your little small car. You've got the problematic areas of driving through traffic with something this big, whether it's a Class A motorhome, Class C motorhome, Class B, travel trailer, fifth wheel. You're a lot bigger. So you have not as many friendly places to park. You'll have to walk from BFE into a store. Things like that. But everything's not always as convenient as you had it in your stick and brick life. So if you're not willing to change your lifestyle a little bit and adapt and do differently than what you've been accustomed to all your life living in a stick and brick, if you can't go out and live like a wild man in the woods, RV life is not for you. I know when me and Miss Jill was searching for a rig, we looked at one a lady had bought, wanted to go full-time RV from watching people's videos and stuff, and she went out and she spent, I think, $40-some thousand on this brand new rig, had it for 3 weeks, and decided camping wasn't for her because she was a germaphobe. She had stuff crammed in everywhere on the RV, brand new. It would have been a hell of a buy because, you know, she put 40-some thousand. RV dealer bought it back, and they had it back out there for 28 grand. So just imagine how big of a hit she took on that. Unfortunately, that would have been a great buy, but unfortunately it wasn't the rig that we wanted. It didn't suit our needs, but it was a nice rig. But these are the things you need to ask yourself before you finally just sign the paper and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm jumping out and going full-time next week. And a lot of people who do this are people who have never camped a day in their life. I don't advise that. If you're not willing to get your hands dirty, if you're not willing to do without, like electric and stuff like that, you know, or you have to go to a public shower. Ooh, a lot of people don't want to do that either. Well, guess what? Sometimes you don't have water. You'll have to do that. That's life. You'll have to either go to a truck stop and take a shower, or you'll utilize a shower house at a campground or an RV park, or you can do like the caveman used to and go bathe in the lake. But a lot of people, like I said, this is not always the lifestyle for people who have been accustomed to having all these creature comforts that you did in your stick and brick. I've seen people come out here who we've met in our travels that have been full-time RVers for a week, 3 days, and they're happy, and then we've come across these people about anywhere between 3 weeks to a month, or even 6 months down the road. They absolutely hate it, and they're trying to find a way to get back into a stick and brick. So RV life, it's one of those things that you really need to know you're going to love it before you make that kind of commitment. Especially if you've never camped before, you need to go rent an RV or go buy a $35, $40 tent and go live like a caveman for a few days before you decide to go in deep and buy an RV, a tow rig, a motorhome. You need to do this before you do that, go financially that deep in a hole to own something like this and then not be able to enjoy it because you hate it. Now you're stuck with a big payment. Now you hate that even more because it's taken away from you to go back to your former life of living in a stick and brick, because you're still paying for this, but now you got this other big $900 to $1,000 mortgage or rent, whatever it may be. So these are the things that you need to really think about before, you know, you let one of our videos influence you, and the other YouTubers' videos out here influence you into dropping out of society, going and getting an RV and running off. Because I would say 7 out of 10 people who decide to come out and live this way, within a year they're done. They're not doing it anymore. But these people, a lot of the ones who've done that are people who have never camped, people who don't like dealing with bugs. I don't like dealing with bugs. I don't like dealing with snakes either. But guess what? I have to, because we live this way. Is it a nuisance to deal with mosquitoes? Yes. Is it a nuisance to deal with snakes? Yes. Is it a nuisance to deal with scorpions? Yes. Big freaking spiders? Yes. It's a nuisance. But it's a nuisance that we're okay with because we love this lifestyle. We love camping. So we love going and seeing new places. And, you know, we're fine with looking and having to search for things. You know, it's kind of like a treasure hunt for us. It's kind of fun sometimes. It can be very stressful, and you can not like each other back and forth when you're looking for something. And usually, if you're a married couple, even if you're not a married couple, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, whatever, on stressful days on travel, it can be very annoying, and you guys can kind of get at each other. That's just, it's life. It's normal life that you would have in your stick and brick. But now you've got this in the mix. You got your RV, you got your tow rig, you got campgrounds to deal with, you know, RV parks to deal with. You got, here's the other, you got unruly neighbors, weekend campers that will come in and camp on a weekend and be some of the noisiest group of people that you'll ever come across in your life. And they think that no rules apply because they're at a campground. And you, as a full-time RVer, you're sitting there thinking, man, I can't wait to the day that the weekend's over and the weekend warriors go home. Now, see, I never really thought about that when we become full-time RVers. But let me tell you, we got a crash course on what it's like to live with weekend warriors. It's not always pleasant. The sheer stuff that goes on in, you know, campgrounds. So if you're always looking for the quietness, full-time RV life, and you want to utilize, you know, public campgrounds, public RV parks, you know, these are not always the quietest places under the sun for you. But you know, you need to really take a long look, a hard look on what you're willing to put up with before you let one of these videos between ours, others out here, influence you into letting your regular life go. Now for us, like I said, it's the best thing ever for us. We love it, we enjoy it on a daily basis, and we're all for people wanting to come out and live this life. But we want you to be happy and not put yourself into a predicament that you just can't stand it or yourself anymore, or feel like you've done something financially idiotic for yourself. Keep these things in mind. I hope it helps, guys. I only wanted to make a short video. It looks like we're running a little longer than what I planned. Hopefully you guys can make some sense out of what I was trying to get across here. I know I probably repeated myself a few times, but there's a lot of information. If you ever see us out someplace and you really want to know what it's like, please feel free to ask. Come up, introduce yourself, say hello. Be happy to show you and walk you through some of what it's really like to be a full-time RVer. Until next time, guys, this is Tony. Miss Jill's working today, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.